Welcome back to People Skills. Our second week, we're going to talk about how to make time for people. God created us to be at our best when we're in relationships with each other. You know, as we saw last time, our choice of friends impacts how much we can thrive. We can't sharpen and encourage each other if we don't make time to be together. So one of the biggest deterrents to good relationships is the speed of life. You know, as a result of the speed of life, we hydroplane through life, skimming the surface relationally. It takes time to build friendships. And I know what you're thinking. I can't add anything to my schedule. I'm not asking you to do that. Stay with me. The word hospitality is really shorthand for making time for people. It's simply the practice of opening up your life, your space, and your time to other people. If you're like me, I know many of us, we struggle to let people in. And I'm convinced that the risk of opening up has been made greater by the various social media platforms that have given us glimpses into people's perfect lives. You know, women often feel the pressure to do it all and do it perfectly, and men feel the pressure to never ever show weakness. In the current age of social media, we fall for the comparison trap. We're comparing our everyday lives to everybody else's highlight reels of the best of their lives. You know, we also struggle with hospitality, with opening up, probably because we never think we're enough. So what can we do about that lie? Thinking wherever we live, whatever we have is not enough is a lie. To fight that, I propose that we wage war against this perfectly curated Facebook life and instead invite people into the life we actually live, not online. I've realized that our relationships get better when we open up. And I believe hospitality is the spiritual practice of opening up our lives. You know, in Ephesians 12:13, the Apostle Paul encouraged believers to practice hospitality. What he meant is that hospitality should be a way of life for the followers of Jesus. But we may never have time for people if we're striving to make our lives good enough before we let them in. When we let go of that, when we let people see behind the scenes of our lives, you know, the dishes in our sink, the piles in our garages, relationships grow deeper because we took a step of being vulnerable and genuine. Maybe you'll warm up to the whole idea of hospitality when you see how different it is from entertaining. We think of entertaining. Entertaining focuses attention on self, but hospitality focuses attention on others. Rather than hoping people leave wanting to never miss another party at your house, you want people to leave having felt welcome and accepted. You know, entertaining, it focuses on the next course of the meal. Hospitality burns the rolls because they were forgotten during an important conversation that you were leaning into in the living room. Entertaining obsesses over what went wrong, what could have been better. Hospitality focuses on the conversations that happened and the friendships that were strengthened. Entertaining can be exhausting. Hospitality actually says, oh, it was nothing, because it was nothing. The host didn't overdo anything. They simply wanted you to feel welcome. See, entertaining wants to impress and to show off. Hospitality just wants you to show up and be together. Making our normal life accessible to people builds relationships. Who you are, right where you are, is definitely enough. So how do we begin to live this out? Well, first, open up your calendar. Don't look for spare time. And don't even think about adding another event to your already packed calendar. Instead, look at what you already do and find places you can invite people into that. We show hospitality when we open up our calendar and we ask people to join us in what is already happening in our lives. Second, open up your home. And I know that's scary. But when Teddy and I started the small group 5 years ago, we invited people to our home. Honestly, it would have been a lot easier to go to someone else's house. But we wanted to invite people into our world, our home, where we live, how we live. And third, open up your life. We all struggle with not enoughs. I'm not smart enough. I'm not spiritual enough. And these false barriers keep us from being hospitable. They keep us from the blessings of close friendships. So I want to encourage you to open up. Be transparent. Because transparency is the door to authenticity. And all of us have spots in our house, in our lives that we don't want anybody else to see or know exists. We all have junk drawers. But when you allow people in anyway, do you know what you're going to find out? Everybody else has a junk drawer. We find in those places, when we open up, grace. So let's choose hospitality. Let's choose to be the first one to be vulnerable, knowing that our genuineness and our transparency will build and enrich friendships. Have you noticed how when one person opens up and is transparent in a group, it's easier for others to do the same? I've always wanted people to say, you know what? He's the same person on stage that he is in real life. Do you know why? Because that stage is my real life. I want to be authentic. I want to be honest. I want to be vulnerable. I want to be real. We have to eliminate any illusion that we live the Instagram life and that everything's together and that every surface is clear of clutter and that every child always behaves. Well, that's not true. When we let whatever we have and whoever we are to be enough, we say to our friends, you're enough right where you are. And just as you are, you're enough. And when you let people into your life as it is right now, you're going to find life that you'd miss out on if you waited until you reached the elusive enough. I encourage you to take the risk. I really believe practicing hospitality will change your world, and it can literally change the world. You know how I know that? In the New Testament times, people opened their homes and their lives to each other. And you know what happened? They changed the world. 1 Peter 4:9 said it this way, open your homes to each other without complaining. It doesn't say if they're really nice homes, open them up. It just says open them up. They don't have to be really nice. It just open your home, open your life. And you think, well, if I open my home, I'm going to have to clean it before people come over. That might be good every now and then for you to clean your house. You ought to try it. But why does God say open up your homes? Why do we share our homes? I'm going to tell you why. Because you cannot build friendships in a crowd. You do it in a small group. You do it one-on-one. You do it life on life. If you want life-giving community, open up. If you want deeper friendships in your life, open up. You've got places in your life to invite people into right now. Open your calendar, your home, and your life, and you'll change the world.
What I used to define as a community, it wasn't a community, it was an escape. And it was when I found this community in the church that really I learned what a community actually was. And so for me, it was, I thought I had these answers. I was this bright kid and, I was good at sports and I did well in school and everything was going well. And then there was just that day, right? And my dad was coming home from a soccer game and the day was sunny and then it wasn't so sunny. And I got home and my dad didn't get home and I went to the hospital and everything was changed. And I went from my best friend to the only guy in the house with, 2 younger sisters, a mom and a grandma. And that was it. So I didn't know what to do. I stayed in my room. I slept 20 hours a day. I didn't care about sports anymore. I didn't care about school. I didn't care about anything. And it was my mom who said, breathe. It was my mom who said, trust me. It was my mom who said, give him one more chance. At the bare least you can do, give him a second chance. Say a prayer. Let's go to church on Sunday. You don't got to do anything else, so just go to church on Sunday. Now let's eat some food. And I like to eat food. And from there it skyrocketed. I dove back in. I wanted to figure it out. I wanted to know why suffering led to something and why it led to something so much bigger than that one moment. And for me, it was then I met Thomas Pesto. And Thomas Pesto, who is a pastor here, he showed me this future that I could have. And he didn't just give it to me. He didn't just hand me this, here, you can have it. He said, let's work on it. Let's get better. Let's figure it out. And so we started in a men's group that everyone went to. And he invited me his own men's group. And now I get to do things on Sunday and serve as an usher, but I also get to do leadership groups with him, and I get to help kids, people who went through not just what I went through, but who are going through things that can be far more horrific and sometimes not, but just to see the kids' smiles on their face make things so much better. And so for that, community is everything here. And without that community, you're just lost. And for me, it got put more in perspective. And it was seeing that suffering, that there was a reason why, and to see how strong my mom was for us and our family and for my sisters. And I wouldn't be the person I am today without going through what I went through. And that's a gift from God I can never give back. And so that's when I think of blessings and when I think of the community, I can't help but think of, God blessed me with this tragedy. We all hear this story of the storm and the boat, and Jesus is sleeping on a pillow. And he's just like, no, I got this, I promise. Like, why'd you wake me up? Like, don't worry. And for me, that's what it was. The storm was shaking. I go, God, how could you do this to me? I'm a good person. I've done nothing wrong. And God's just like, let me finish the story. That would want me to know that I'm blessed from the moment I wake up to the moment I close my eyes every day, that it's not over, that life's so much more than a paycheck. It's so much more than, everything else. It's that I'm blessed. That's what my dad would want me to remember.